I can only summarize it now, and I'll do so very as tersely as I can. First, fascism, the original 20th century totalitarian movement, is really, historically, another name for the political activity of the Catholic right wing. There is no other name for it. Francoism, Salazarism, what happened in Croatia, in Austria, in Bavaria, and so on. The Church keeps on trying to apologize for it, can't apologize for it enough. It's the Catholic right, Mussolini. You can't quite say that about Hitler, National Socialism, because that's also based on Nordic and pagan blood myths, leader worship and so on, though Hitler never repudiated his membership of the Church. And prayers were said for him on his birthday every year till the very end, on the orders of the Vatican. And all of these facts are well known, and the Church still hasn't found another way to apologize for that enough. And whatever it is, you can call that, you can't call it secular. You may not call it secular.
Joseph Ratzinger, His Holiness the Pope, has just got off the plane in England today to announce that atheists are Nazis. An overdressed little ponce who was himself a member of the Hitler Youth. And then I get told that atheism is Nazism. The Pope does it today, getting off the fucking plane in Edinburgh to talk to the Queen. And Shmuley doesn't exactly not say it. Now, on this, because of the totalitarians of the 20th century, Adolf Hitler is the only one he mentioned more than twice. Because I can't do them all, though, believe me, I will if you press me. I'll just take the Führer. My former colleagues and ancestors at the New School produced a very comprehensive edition of Mein Kampf, the hard book to get. They wanted everyone to read it, and I have several copies of the edition they brought out in 1940. Just slightly too late, actually, in the hope of warning people. I think it's at the closing pages of chapter 2 that Adolf Hitler says that his work against the Jews is done on the direct instruction and inspiration of Almighty God. It's certainly a trope that's repeated throughout the book. And there was no reason for someone brought up in Catholic Austria, Bavaria, not to think that. Centuries of Christian instruction in the poisonous nature of the Jewish people, the verminous character of the Jewish people. An uncontroversial remark. The Vatican at that point was willing to ban books by Evelyn Waugh and Graham Greene. Say nothing, books about evolution and the Big Bang. They were invited to ban Mein Kampf, did they? No, they didn't. Instead, the Vatican made its first ever political treaty with the Third Reich, exchanging complete control over education on their part for complete control over the rest of the state by the Nazi Party. What did it say on the belt buckle of every single member of the Nazi army? What did it say? Gott mit uns. Do you want me to translate? It says God on our side, in German. If you took your oath to the Führer, how did it have to begin? I swear in the name of Almighty God, my undying fealty to Adolf Hitler. Shmuley, I won't take it from you. I'm sorry. I don't want to spoil a relatively friendly evening either. Don't you dare bring this up again. I can take a lot. Read any history of fascism in the 20th century and take out the word fascist from any history that's remotely objective, including much written by Christian historians, and just put in, instead of the word fascist, extreme Catholic. You don't need to change another word. To say this was secular is just getting history completely wrong. To say it's atheist is a deliberate, conscious insult, and I won't have it. So, now you know how rude I can be.
By the way, Joseph Goebbels was excommunicated from the Catholic Church. 50%, according to Paul Johnson, the Catholic historian of the Waffen-SS, were confessing Catholics. None of them was ever threatened with excommunication, even threatened with it for taking part in the final solution. But Joseph Goebbels was excommunicated for marrying a Protestant. You see, we do have our standards.